Special guest, Mike Conway with C.J. Brown. And we've started a great partnership with him to better serve small businesses, nonprofits, and multi-unit property owners. So I'm gonna pass this off. And you ready to start?
Hello. Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us who you are and a little bit about your company, like
Sure.
how old it is.
C.J. Brown Energy and Engineering. We're a professional engineering corporation. I'm the managing partner, and we've been in business for 30 years, serving Western New York for the sole purpose of finding ways to cut costs and make people more cost-effective in the businesses and hope for economic development in Western New York.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Now, I did a little digging on your website,
Oh, wow,
and
okay.
I am amazed at what you've done. As kind of a case study, could you tell us what it was like when the schools in the city were being,
Oh, yeah. So there's a very large project which City of Buffalo Schools participated in their $1 billion construction project. And as a part of that, the state agency for New York State Department of Education, there's a certain levels of funding that they get for capital improvement projects. The City of Buffalo is funded quite high, but there is a differential associated with how much money that the city had to participate in on $1 billion. If you think of that percentage, it can be, $1 billion can be quite a bit, right?
Wow.
So what was elected to do is to accomplish what they call an energy services performance contract.
Okay.
An energy services performance contract was picking up the differential costs. So in many aspects, the entire capital project for the city of Buffalo cost the taxpayers no money.
Amazing.
And the energy service performance contract was picking up projects that would save would save money in regards to energy improvements for the overall district and the each individual schools. It's an extensive project that it consists of many energy improvements, boiler replacements, lighting replacements, controls, and things of this nature. It went multiple phases for multiple years. Not only were we involved in the designs of the project in some aspects, but all the investment-grade energy conservation assessments for the performance contracts and in coordination with the general contractors and things of that nature. Yeah,
Amazing.
large job, yes.
So obviously, small business, 30 employees is in very good hands with you.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's an example of what we've done for one school district. There's a lot of other smaller school districts that have decided to participate in that method, all right, as well as in parallel with the capital project improvements and things of that nature. It's actually helped our tax basis. If you think about the less utility costs that every one of our facilities have, that is municipal, schools, things of this nature, it's hopefully less tax increases for us, right, and better for the employment in Western New York.
True.
Absolutely.
So, I thought it would be good maybe if you could give us an idea because there's a lot of interest in that.
Oh, yeah.
Real estate is just booming right now here. Multi-unit property owner, where should they start?
Multifamily is very aggressive associated in New York State. Governor Cuomo has been issuing quite a bit of tax credits and funding for the redevelopment of low to moderate income housing within Western New York, actually across the state. Through the Department of Housing Community Renewal and our New York State Energy Research and Development Authority organization that distributes the energy efficiency funds across the state along with the investor-owned utility companies, have fantastic programs for existing buildings and developers for the building and remodeling and renovations of multifamily housing.
Wow.
They do it on a per unit basis. You have to be a qualified energy conservation consultant to accomplish that, and C.J. Brown Energy has been an approved consultant for multifamily housing. It's incredible to see the housing development within Western New York. We have more projects than can shake a stick at, and our primary job is to bring these projects, the most cost-effective and energy efficiencies, to help the future tenants that are going to be in there. It's as simple as that. There's many levels of Energy Star, many levels of funding for these projects, but for every project, every facility, multifamily housing, low to moderate income, there are funds available. You can go on NYSERDA's website, you can call me at my office, 565-9190, because we have an entire crew of multifamily housing energy assessment people that can direct you in the correct way. Matter of fact, the School 77 was one of our projects.
Oh,
Yes,
really?
that's correct. Yes, yes.
Wow.
So, and we completed and do all the energy, the test outs, blower door tests, duct blaster tests, and things of that nature to make sure it qualifies for those funds. So,
Because my understanding is there's a little bit of help with funding for the assessment itself.
Yeah, most, I'm gonna say all low to moderate income housing projects, that the incentives that NYSERDA pays for our services. It's
Okay.
actually no cost to the developers.
Okay.
In most cases, there's additional funding that's left over for the owners of the property that can help in the capital projects as
Wonderful.
well. Yeah, yeah. So again, the housing stock in New York State, the last time we see it in development of the housing stock in New York State was back in the 60s and 70s. That was during the gas moratorium days.
Oh my goodness.
And in such, there is a lot of HUD-owned and as well as privately owned, HUD-subsidized 1960s, 1970s property that is still electric heat, okay?
Yes.
Strict electric
Yes.
heat, which quite frankly pays, the people that live there cost them a small fortune.
Oh.
So we're trying to cut that in a big way,
That's wonderful, wonderful. Now say there's a property that has a storefront and 5 apartments attached to it.
As long as it's not more than 50% of the overall square footage of the space. So we can access the multifamily performance programs, renovation, or even new construction, if it's a gut rehab, as well as address some of the commercial property incentives that may be available through our local investor-owned utility companies. Because the investor-owned utility companies also have quite a bit of funding for installation of high-efficiency equipment for commercial, institutional, and industrial properties as well. It's a full circle. Back in the day with the utility companies, when we started 30 years ago, used to distribute the funds that every ratepayer pays into.
Oh, yeah.
So really, it's really that ratepayers getting back the money they've been paying into for so many years.
Okay.
So, so NYSERDA used to control that funding. First the utility companies, then NYSERDA. Now NYSERDA still runs some of those programs, but a lot of the incentive programs now come back to the investor-owned utility companies, National Fuel Gas, National Grid, New York State Electric and Gas, RG&E, and across the entire state. Yeah.
Okay.
So
now
we can
that's-
ask those as well. So we run some of those programs for the. We run some of those programs for the investor-owned utility companies. So if somebody needs a specific program, sometimes it's my phones that ring and actually assist people in the commercial, industrial, and municipal marketplace. Yes, yeah,
Okay.
and commercial, right? So even if it's a small commercial facility, NYSERDA for small commercial, not-for-profit. You brought it up. It's got to be 14 years, 13, 14 years. We've been operating a energy conservation assessment for non-for-profits and small commercial buildings based upon full-time equivalent employees. So it is a very, very low-cost energy conservation assessment.
that's great.
A couple $100, $400 type of
That's
thing.
fantastic.
In which we're able to go in and really help small businesses and not-for-profit find ways to cut costs and access incentives to help them do that, whether it be financing incentives or ways to finance the projects. But also, just to cut their costs, make them more cost effective.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing to do in this society and
Oh my
community.
goodness, yes.
Absolutely.
So that brings up something, as far as qualifications, you mentioned like the kind of funding going full circle. Systems benefit charge.
System benefit charges. That is the resource that the Public Service Commission accesses. I believe it's close to $900 million a year, and which its intent is to go back to the ratepayers because they're paying it. If anybody looks on their gas bill, your electric bill, you'll see a specific line item, SBC. There's also RPS, and that's the funding that goes back to the Public Service Commission for distribution of energy efficiency assistance, whether it be incentives for technical assistance or incentives for capital projects, energy efficiency projects. So really, it's like you've paid into this. You better take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
And that's been going on for years. You see, the Public Service Commission years ago. That's how energy conservation got involved within New York State, and it wasn't a sustainable issue in many ways.
Sure. And
it wasn't a greenhouse gas issue back then. It was a lot of the we need more generation. The growth in New York State needs more generation. And it was determined a long time ago that it's so much more cost effective to conserve on energy than it is to build new generation.
Okay.
Right? So
Sure.
the aspect of it is, okay, you know, for every dollar we spend in energy efficiency, it's like putting a watt back on the grid.
Wow.
See what I mean?
Wow,
So
yeah.
that's why they decided to exercise all means possible associated with energy conservation before they allow for new generation.
That
in New
makes
York
so
State.
much
Does that
sense.
make a lot of sense? Yeah.
So much sense.
So, you know, the whole aspect of energy improvements conservation has changed. There's still that aspect of it, but nowadays there's sustainability,
Yes.
carbon reductions,
Yeah.
and many other aspects that people have goals to achieve in regards to energy efficiencies.
Wow.
Okay.
So you've worked with all kinds of businesses,
Oh, my
churches,
goodness.
right?
We work, actually, if you name a commercial, institutional type of facilities, not for-profits, non-for-profits, we've been there. Hospitals, you know, industrial facilities.
Wow.
What's very interesting about Western New York is the niche industrial facilities that we
Yes.
have and the energy assessments we've done associated with these. People have no idea what some of these niche industrial complexes
Oh,
do
my
within Western
goodness.
New York and sell across the entire world.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's very nice to see Western New York participate in that. Hopefully, that's growth, right?
Hope so.
Absolutely. So schools, hospitals, higher education. Oh my goodness, you know, churches,
Yeah.
a lot of churches, things of that nature, and Interfaith Coalition,
Wow.
that we can access many aspects of different
Wow.
religious beliefs for energy improvements. Yes.
Amazing.
Because again, a big non-for-profit, I'm sure they like to reduce their costs as well. You know, it does not commit anybody to do anything.
Oh, that's important.
It
That's
does not.
really important.
You know, what it is really a tool and potential roadmap on
Oh.
what they may be doing or what's more cost effective to accomplish within their facilities, and how to best try to accomplish that and the funding that's available within the state to help them do that.
Wow.
You know, we do an energy assessment, we do follow-ups in a month, follow-up in 6 months,
Nice.
to see if we can continue to answer their questions and how to help them cut those costs.
Wow.
You know, in the form of energy and operation costs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can tell you love what you do.
I do. I've been doing it for 30 years. And actually before that, I was doing it for about 10 years. So I've been in this industry for about 40 years. It's not bad for somebody who's like 20 years old.
I was going to say you were child labor at one
Child
point,
labor.
apparently.
Yeah, really.
So what's your favorite part of your job?
Oh, my goodness. Favorite part would be, it's not the engineering aspect.
No.
It's sitting here talking to you.
Oh.
It's actually helping people across the entire state, even the Northeast United States, because that's a territory we cover. And, you know, hoping for economic development in what we do. Helping people that are creating jobs because we're cutting their overhead. We're cutting their costs.
Sure.
For me, that's the best part of it. You know,
Yeah.
I used to do the engineering, which
Oh,
was
okay.
always a lot of fun. I started as the engineer,
Oh,
one
wow.
and two guys, you know, and we've grown substantially. But as I continue to run this business now, it's helping organizations like Push to meet your goals
Yes.
in regards to energy efficiencies, but whether it's schools' goal, let's cut their costs. Let's find
Wow.
ways to do this in regards to energy efficiency and operations. That's what's in my heart for it.
Oh, my
Now,
gosh.
yeah, absolutely.
That's great. Now I thought of one more thing. I've heard talk that for some of the like landlord-tenant kind of issues,
Yeah.
that there might be mandatory energy efficiency work. What do you think?
Well, they have not passed anything of that yet.
Yeah.
Okay, they have not. It will be especially some landlords, especially absentee landlords. It might be a big effort to accomplish it. Personally, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I really do. The landlords and the tenants can work together to cut costs, take a look at their rents, and work together to try to find a way to cut those costs.
Yeah.
It's always been a problem.
Yeah.
Because, you know, developers or landlords, they don't pay those utility bills.
So,
Right?
Right.
It's the residents that pay those utility bills. So is there a benefit to them to cut the utility costs of the independent tenants? It really isn't, you know, but hopefully through government interaction,
yeah.
as well as people within the development. I do have multifamily housing that are that are independent metered for the tenants to pay the utility bills, is that they're starting to see that tenants are looking elsewhere if they have not done energy improvements.
Wow.
And as a result, their vacancies are jumping a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm trying to represent to them that, you know what, there's an Energy Star Apartments down the street here. Maybe these tenants should be looking at this stuff, right? Getting off their leases, which then affects the developers and affects the owners that to actually start participating in this. Now, I have seen a little of that, and I've talked to a lot of multifamily housing owners in regards to that. Yes, so press it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because there is, it's, if you can think a little long term, it's a win-win.
It is a win-win.
It increases the value of your property.
It does. Plus
Healthier
your vacancy
tenants
rates
are not going to be falling behind on rent as much.
Exactly. Yes.
Just got to think a little bit long term.
And again, those 60s and 70s apartment complexes that were built for public assisted housing.
Yes.
I'd like to see the electric heat removed.
Yes.
Right? I'd like to see energy efficient installed. Their vacancy rates are very high at some point, and it would be fantastic for the owner to fill those up. And all you got to do is cut the utility costs and participate in a lot of programs that can help them do that.
Wow.